Hey there, welcome back to another review for the Dolph Lundgren Marathon, and this time we get to a pretty decent flick, The Peacekeeper. Now, The Peacekeeper is directed by a guy named Frédéric Forestier, which I'm not sure what else he's done. But this is a film that looked like it had at least a little bit of a budget for a direct-to-video film. I think this came out the same year as The Peacemaker with George Clooney. I think both were 1997 films. And the movie has an insane action sequence where two vehicles are chasing each other on rooftops. Not only that, like Dolph goes crashing through one wall and going from one rooftop to another, and the bad guys are following him. And this is all done practical. And it looks fucking great to the point it made some big budget films, especially recent, cry in shame. That's a pretty damn good flick. I mean, a good scene. It's a decent flick. I like the film. There are issues, but that scene is pretty fucking awesome. But Dolph Lundgren, he plays a character, U.S. Air Force Major Frank Cross, and he had done this mission where he delivered this rice to really hungry people, but he gets in trouble for it, and he's about ready to get kicked out. So he's like, okay, you know what? The public like what you did, even though we don't. So you don't carry this black bag, which has nuclear codes, for the president. And the president is played by Roy Scheider, which is another cool thing. Because I love Roy Scheider. I love him in Jaws, Jaws 2, 2010, Blue Thunder. I love Roy Scheider. Miss the guy. Great actor. Just love him. So it was cool to see him as the president in this. He did a nice job. A little bit sometimes thicker on the sort of southern accent. But overall, it's Roy Scheider. Just a big fan of his. Dolph says a funny line when he gets this black bag. He's like, so if I drop this, is Moscow going to catch a nuke? He's hanging in a hotel room. Things happen. Bad guys try to get it. Try to shoot him. Thankfully, he's wearing a bulletproof vest. Escape, crashing through windows, hanging off buildings, falls. It's like first fucking day. Ultimately, they get the suitcase. He has to chase after them. Goes to this parking garage, chasing these bad guys, both in a vehicle. Well, more like they're chasing Dolph. Well, like Dolph's chasing them, and then it leads to them chasing Dolph because they they made they let Dolph chase them to lead into a trap on this rooftop, and Dolph's like shit. Moves his car. The car gets fucked up, riddled with bullets, but still running. And again, they go from like rooftop, jump from one rooftop to another again and again. Just really well filmed. I mean, you probably find it on YouTube. It's an insane scene. I remember when I saw this because I never heard of this. I'm like, wow, this is a pretty good fucking scene. How the hell did they do this? And the reason I'm pipping that scene up so much is that if a low budget film like Peacekeeper can do that, then what's this use of a big budget $100 million film like Skyscraper not be able to do anything without shitty CGI? Just someone explain that to me, please. I'm all ears. Please do. And Dolph's car crashes through a billboard. He jumps out in nick of time. It goes off a building, big crash, and boom. He gets shot up by this helicopter. This bad guy tries to go after him. He fucks him up, takes his clothes, pretends he's a bad guy, gets on the bad guy's helicopter, and the helicopter goes to this like missile silo. This seeing the right terminology to use. It's a missile silo that's about ready to be decommissioned. And it's headed by Montel Williams. Yes, the talk show host Montel Williams. There he is right there, Montel Williams. Some people might not even remember that talk show. But yeah, he was a TV talk show host. First off, he did a pretty decent job. He wasn't bad at all. He did fine in the acting. And before people go, oh, come on, Montel Williams, people forget Montel Williams was in the military before he had his talk show. Don't believe me, look it up. I believe he was in the Marine Corps. And then that led to being in the, I'm not, I think it was Marine Corps, it could be Army or Marine. And then it led into the Navy because he wanted to go in that direction. So he's had his fair share of being in the military. So I buy him in the role. And he did fine. I don't think he was a bad actor at all. I thought he worked nicely with Dolph. The villain, which is, what was his name? Michael Sarrazin. I thought he did a nice job. Definitely a crazy guy. His character has a little fucked up eye. Very capable actor. Sold his role very well as this guy who's out of his mind, leading this group of people, who has a history with Roy Scheider's character. Now, I will say one of the problems with the film is that it kind of slows down in the middle, where I would have liked more action or more Dolph killing some of these bad guys and kicking these bad guys' ass, because a chunk of the middle is, Dolph arrives with the bad guys to the silo, Dolph and Montel meet, you get some gunfire, but then they go into these vents. The vent scene is way too fucking dark. There's a sequence where Dolph's like fighting a guy and I think breaks his neck. I say I think because it was filmed so dark I couldn't see shit. So like that's one scene that was ruined by. I mean, granted, it's the vents. How to the vents are not going to have a fucking light in them, but still, come on. Like, work around it or don't do it at all. So little moments like that are like, eh. And there's a gunfight in the vents. The bad guys do launch a missile that destroys Mount Rushmore. Yeah, Mount Rushmore gets destroyed, which I forgot all about that, so that surprised the hell out of me. But again, it's not a lot of, I wanted a little bit more Dolph kicking ass, maybe more bad guys for Dolph to kick ass and kill. His mainly Dolph and Montel going through the vents, going through the bottom of the silo, this one tube with this like a tunnel with a big fan at the end. Montel's going to watch these monitors and cut the power while Dolph goes out. Meanwhile, the bad guy has his plan. He sends Roy Scheider out to the cemetery because of the history he had with Roy. Something about Michael Sarrazin was in the military himself and got fucked over and wants Roy Scheider to kill himself on TV. Because Roy Scheider does try, but the gun's empty because this guy's crazy. And Michael Sarrazin's like, you're not going to get off that easily. I want to make you hurt. And he's going to launch the missile. And like the other bad guys, like, what are you doing? This is the plan. What are you doing? Because Michael Sarrazin, his tears is a fruitcake. So I mean, it's not the worst because there's sort of interesting little things where Roy Scheider's good, Michael Sarrazin's decent as the villain, but it's not a lot of excitement to it. But in the third act, it does pick up. There's some fun moments, like Dolph. Uh, he's low on ammo. He shoots a guy, and the guy was changing his ammo. So when he gets shot, he still has the ammo in his hand, and Dolph takes it and goes, "Thanks, buddy," after he shot the guy. Or he's fighting with this guy at the bottom of this elevator. No, on this elevator, which leads to the under this one missile, and the missile starts to ignite, and Dolph has to escape. while battling this guy as his missile launches. Granted, some of the effects, this Dolph has a suit that withstands extreme temperature. When his terrier gets blasted up and against this like chain wall, it's really not so good effects. I ease up on it because it's a low budget, but it's pretty bad effects. I gotta admit. I don't ease up on it too much because there's other low budget films that I take to hell and back for bad effects. But because I'm enjoying the rest of the film, I'll forgive it. It's still pretty bad though. And yeah, Michael Sarrazin, you know he's a psycho because he's the type of psycho who will cut his arm. He's like, I after that incident, I bleed differently now. Like just out of these fucking Fruit Loops. And again, there's some nice little moments. I like this part where Dolph gets his bad guy and does this like gun punch. Like he's like bah bah bah, and each time he does this, the gun goes off and a blood squib to the back. I don't know, like for some reason in a lot of action movies, it's the little things that make me smile and enjoy a film more. Like what again, Dolph going that bah bah bah, like I just called the gun punch. Or like this one guy's like, "How you want to die, dickhead?" And Dolph says, "Old age," and kills a guy with a fucking axe to the stomach. The ending is kind of lame. That's another problem I have with the film because the bad guy dies just because he's psychotic. Because the bad guy launched the missile, he has the codes, he has the suitcase that'll stop it, cuffed to him. Dolph grabs him, the guy's hanging off with the cuffs and the suitcase. Dolph can't get to it, and you wondered, how's Dolph going to save the day? How's Dolph going to get out of the situation? How's the hero going to stop the bad guy? No, the guy, he's crazy, so he's like, oh, you want to be the hero? Okay, he uncuffs himself and kills himself. And it makes no fucking sense, but you're just supposed to throw it up as he's crazy. I'm thinking, well, wait a minute, his whole fucking point of this was to blow up a chunk of the northeast of the U.S. because he hated what the president, Roy Scheider, government did to him. So I'm thinking, you could have just waited one more minute and everything you wanted would have happened. So I just think there's a better way. Why have Dolph, I don't know, cut his fucking hand off or something? That would have been nice. Like, he had an axe before. Have him take the axe with him and, like, throws the axe into the guy's chest or stomach. Ugh, and then Heyman, and then Dolph reaches for the axe and cuts the hand off. And then takes, the guy falls to his death, and then Dolph gets the hand, throws it, and then runs off. That would have been more satisfying. Can you imagine that? Like Dolph has the axe, throws it, and then he's still alive because it's a movie. Bad guys have to survive even the most crazy wounds sometimes. And then Dolph just cut his fucking hand off, and the guy falls. That would have been more satisfying. Not the guy just, oh, I killed myself because I'm crazy. I'm a crazy boy. So that ending was lame. Some more action in the middle section of the movie. Maybe Dolph fucked up some more bad guys. Maybe some more scenes between Dolph and Roy Scheider because they have like one brief scene where Dolph tries to say hi and Roy Scheider kind of brushes him off. Because even at the end where Dolph and Montel Williams are walking off, there's a limo that passes by, and then it cuts to Roy Scheider in the limo, so it's them not technically in the same scene. So it would have been nice if Dolph and Roy Scheider shared at least a couple scenes. Like at the end, have them like shake hands, a few more words. So again, there's a few problems I have with the film, but overall, it's Dolph in a Die Hard type of situation, Granted, I would put Command Performance above it, but bad guys in one area, Dolph kicking ass. The rooftop action scene is fantastic. The little bits of action were satisfying enough, except the ending, the finale, the last bad guy death, I should say. Montel Williams did fine. Roy Scheider, always cool to see him in a movie. The direction was competent. I don't have much problem with the direction of the film. Overall, it's a pretty decent flick. Pretty decent film in the Dolph filmography. Again, it has its issues, but overall, entertaining film. Glad to have in my collection. Definitely one of the better direct-to-video Dolph films. So, and I never saw this other film because I don't care for Daniel Baldwin. I definitely don't care for Casper Van Dien, so I don't give a shit. And Brian Brown I like, but I'll just watch FX 1 and 2, which I think I reviewed on the channel. I believe those reviews are up. I like those two, but I don't give a shit about that. I just give a shit about this, the Peacekeeper. So, sad to say, I don't know if it's on a DVD by itself. I only found it in this 2-pack. Pretty cheap DVD. Illumination Filmworks, where the fuck that is. Maybe that's not the DVD, maybe that's the film company. I don't know. I don't know what the hell the DVD company is. Maybe it is. Illumination Filmworks? Yeah. Where the fuck they are. No features. I don't even think it has a trailer on it. And it's 2-on-1 disc, so the picture quality isn't the best. Days Idiot, you're trying to fit 2 films on 1 disc. But anyway, it's not going to be on Blu-ray in the US anytime soon, so this is the best you can get. I would pick it up if this came on Blu-ray. I mean, The Minion came on Blu-ray recently. I would put Men of War or this movie and others above The Minion to get for Dolph films to get a Blu-ray, but that's just me. But The Peacekeeper, decent flick. So thanks for watching. Take care. Oh yeah, and I mentioned before, but Dolph and Montel, I thought they had some fun stuff. Like at the very end of the film, when they walk off, I thought Dolph and Montel Williams had some fun little dialogue with each other. So I thought those two. I would like to have seen more of those two together interacting with each other. But the little bits they had, it was pretty. Yeah, I thought it was fun. But anyway, thank you, take care, and stay tuned for another Dolph Lundgren movie review later.